say his pride, poor old darling, his pride was his downfall, wasn't it? Should never have done what he was only pride. But anyway, there we are.
So you were married? Were you married before he went off to war? Because didn't he?
Oh yes, yeah. He was in camp. See what happened, and they worked out things very well. He was in what they call the militia before the war, and they thought that they would be the first ones that would go because they were already trained.
Right.
Instead of that, they kept them back to train others.
Oh, right.
And they all tried very, very hard to get out of it, but they weren't allowed, they wouldn't accept their resignations. He didn't get away, he didn't leave Australia for about 3 years after the war started.
Oh, right.
So when, he was in camp, but they expected the war had broken out, and he said, I always remember that night, Jessie House, you know, the one that's...
It's in England?
Yes.
Yeah.
Grandpa used to board at the same boarding house in South Yarra as Harold, her first husband. And then Jessie came out and married him here, and they tucked me under their wing too, and we were out having we were at dinner in town or something, and the news came out we're at war. Right, said Harold. Well, the first thing we've got to do is to go and buy you a nighty. We'd all have good, I don't know, it was red or what it was, and we walked the shops. It was Friday night. We had late shopping on Friday night, and then nothing till Monday. So we all went and sat in late, and we got all these nighties. Harold said, what do you need? You need something to put under your pillow. Anyway, that's why Bill was going to be out of camp for a fortnight. That's why our wedding had to be this particular.
All right.
Actually, what's today? Today the 23rd?
23rd of December, yeah.
Oh, this is my wedding anniversary.
Oh my goodness.
And it was Uncle Ding's was yesterday, 22nd. But Harold and Jessie were then recalled to England. He was the Keynote White Star representative for Australia. They were recalled, and they thought they would be returned to England, returned to Australia after all, but they didn't ever. He was posted to Hamburg, and then he had a heart attack when he was about 50 and just died like that. But,
That's Jessie's husband.
Oh, well, yes, that's Jessie's. Oh, yes, but then she's gorgeous. I think her romance is beautiful. The Keynote White Star, they were coming out, it must have been Harold's 20th or long service leave, and Keynote used to give them a trip.
Right.
And they were coming, we had it all arranged, we were going to have a wonderful time. Instead of that, he died, and but Keynote said to her, but you still, the trip's still yours. So after a bit she came, and when she came out, she was, and she was going home, and she was floods of tears because she had a son, Oliver, that one that, you met Oliver? No. He went into the Navy, and they trained to be a surgeon. He's done the most now at Queen's Physician.
Oh, right.
And he and Bruce, there's 4 days difference in their age.
Right.
And anyway, Jessie was going back, floods of tears. I've got nothing in my life now except Oliver. And then after a bit, when the trips, of course, were 6 weeks or so. After weeks, let the letters there start to get more cheerful. And then when she got home, the captain of the boat that she went on, she'd become pregnant. And this was dear old Ron. So then this one that went on for a while, she wouldn't, she'd make up her mind. And when Ron, when his ship used to come to Melbourne, it wasn't liner, it was, cargo boats, that's what I don't know what to call them. And he used to come, we used to go down to the docks midnight or something with him, bring him home, and he'd spend the weekend with us. He was a dear. But yes, we've been friends for all that time.
Yeah. So when you and Grandpa were married, obviously he
had 4 days to leave. 4 days. We went to Flinders.
Did you?
And then he went back to camp. Right. I hardly saw him.
So you were still living at home then, were you?
I was living at home.
In Camberwell, is that right?
Yes. We took a house, that's right, in Oakleigh, and that was furnished with my money. My mum, all the time I worked for 3 or 4 years, and she insisted on me paying board, and that was right, you know. And then when I was getting married, she said, "There's the money."
Goodness me.
And of course, because we hadn't expected to get married as early, but because of the war we did, so Jack didn't have any money at all. So I think I had 400 pounds, and that completely furnished our house.
Wow.
But then immediately it had to go to store.
Yeah.
And then I went home because I went home and I was at home during the war, and Sandra was born there and Max was born there.